Hi guys, welcome to the final week of our 6-bed supported living project. So this is the one that we've project managed. Yeah, pretty much everything is completely done. So this one with the building, the build itself, the renovation itself was actually relatively straightforward. We've just had the main issue was actually with the builder that we took on at the start. Thankfully, that's been completely resolved. We took our team or various team members on to complete the project. The landlord has been absolutely amazing on this. Originally it was meant to take 10 weeks. It ended up taking, I think, 21 weeks.
21, yeah.
And that's mostly due to just shit builder and COVID. But Ashley, had the misfortune of just having to sort all that out, deal with all that himself. So he'll talk you through it. Let me turn it around.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. So thanks, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to speak less about the property today because you've seen it over the weeks. You pretty much can see the finished article. It's a straightforward property renovation that we've done for supported accommodation. But I do want to speak about some of the issues. So what I'm not going to do, I'm not going to stand here and speak about all the issues. I'm going to walk around and I'm going to sort of give you guys a little bit of an insight into some of the issues. So step into room one. As Stu mentioned, with this builder, we had all the works, work scheduled in. Initially, it was an 8 to 10 week job. Now, there was no sort of heavy lifting work, so we weren't moving any walls. We did have to install a new kitchen, a couple of new bathrooms or shower rooms. So yeah, there weren't any extensions. We weren't going into the loft and all that kind of stuff. So for us, it was really just sort of like a cosmetic and a facelift for the property. So as Stu mentioned, I think we were probably at around about the 17, 18 week stage. We unfortunately had to get rid of the previous builder. Now, reason being, we actually started the project bang in the middle of COVID. So we started the project at the start of May. So we understood that there may be some issues with materials, there may be some issues with personnel. But for us, we had an agreement with the builder to get the works done. Got to around week 18 and I think it got to a point where it was just a lot of broken promises, weren't it too? So a lot of broken promises, a lot of, this will be done or that'll be done, and things weren't being done. And it just got to the point where we had to actually just give a hard deadline and just say, look, everything that, everything that you keep saying, we can't really believe it now. What we needed to do is we just needed to finish by this particular date, finish all the works that you intend to do or that you can do. Anything that is then left outstanding versus a contract, we will then bring our normal main contractor, Michael from AlphaCon, in, and he will then finish the rest of the work. Now, as you guys can imagine, taking a builder off a job is difficult at any point. This was even more difficult and a little bit disappointing from the original builder's point that there wasn't loads of work left to do. It was just little bits here and there and sort of all over. What actually happened is after that though, after sort of looking at those sort of, facial cosmetic issues, when we've dug a little bit deeper, we found a few more issues. So
yeah, his workflow was all over the place.
Exactly, yeah. And again, it goes back to, I think, expectations of a relationship, an initial relationship, and I think there may have been a few wires crossed. But ultimately, from a builder's perspective, there's certain things that we expect, and there were certain things that were done and weren't done correctly, and there were other things that were promised and they weren't actually done. So we had to go in and sort of undo a lot of work, get it done to a good standard, which we always work to, and then sort of move on. So it has been a difficult period. It's been probably a difficult 8 weeks. As Stu previously mentioned, the investor and owner of the property has been really, really good with this. I think initially there were some teething issues with us working together because it was the first time we've worked together.
It's always the case, isn't it?
Exactly.
Working with an investor for the first time.
But I think once we sort of worked through those issues, and there were very, very minor issues. I shouldn't even really...
There weren't even issues.
Yeah, there weren't even really
issues.
Just
normal processes.
Exactly, just normal processes. But I think we're in a good place now. But yeah, it's worked out. We've got a really good 6-bedroom property that is going to be used for supported accommodation. We've got 2 shower rooms in the property, 1 separate WC. It's got a newly fitted kitchen, which you can step in and see here. So, newly fitted kitchen, all electric, keep it nice and safe. We've gone with the grey blinds as we normally do, and this is just a really standard functional kitchen. It's actually miles better than my kitchen at home. Let's have a look in here so you can see where in this area previously we had one big bathroom, and what we've done is just utilize some of the space, and actually we've got now, you can see shower room, and then you've got separate WC in there. So I would say there were quite a few issues, quite a few compliance issues now. For us, especially when we contract a builder or main contractor, and your contract says that things will be done to HMO regulations, we expect that things are going to be done to HMO regulations and building regulations. Now, as the majority of you know, when you're doing small sort of minor works, when you're replacing the kitchen, etc., you're not going to engage building regs. There's absolutely no need to do so. But we did have to engage building regs for a couple of things in this property, which I'll talk about shortly. But let's have a walk outside. See the back garden. So, real straightforward, easy to maintain back garden, somewhere where the tenants can come out and enjoy. So you can see here, we have actually de-weeded all around here. Shouts out to Maxons for that. So we've de-weeded all around here, and we're now making use of the AstroTurf, which is a little bit old, but it's still fully functioning, isn't it too? So
it's lasted quite a while. Actually,
quite well, yeah. So it's a good place. Again, we're not going to need a gardener out here. Probably a little bit of weed killer just to keep the weeds down, but other than that, fully functional. We actually had an issue. In the shower room, didn't we?
Yeah.
So it was a shower room and there was a leak. Somehow the leak was sort of travelling down, and it was actually causing issues down in this area. What we actually found is when we stripped back the floorboards, there was a leak that must have been going on for a good 10 years or so, because the wood was just completely rotted out, and there was part of it where water was literally just flowing down on in between the walls. Go straight into. Actually, one of the things I should mention is the 10 mil electrical work. So what actually happened is the previous builder didn't actually put any electrical points in for the oven, for the hub, or for the extractor fan. Now what it meant is we either had to go and do trunking throughout the whole property, which, as you guys can see, it was freshly painted. It wasn't something that we really wanted to do, but because the supply needed was quite large, what we actually do is we actually ran a 10 mil electrical circuit right through there. So that goes to the front of the property, and it comes right down here. And we thought that was the best option. I think it was the least intrusive option and the best one for us to actually get everything wired up here. So again, those are the sort of problems that we actually had when we were initially questioning the builder about why things hadn't been done in a certain order. We got told sort of, judge me on the finished product. I'm doing a few things a bit back to front because I need to get the job done, and because of COVID, some people are not able to work and others are. So we trusted the builder, but we kept pointing out these issues and they weren't rectified, and then we sort of were left with a finished product that wasn't fit for purpose for us. Now we'll go upstairs. As you can see, it's a really large property, so there is a lot of space. You've only got 2 bedrooms downstairs. You've got a large lounge or dining area and a nice sized kitchen. So, upstairs, another thing that previously, the previous builder missed out, was where to standing right there. Previously there was a window. It was blocked in from the inside but not blocked from the outside. Again, I don't really need to explain to you guys what that means. Into probably the largest room. So again, to be fair, a few of these rooms, especially upstairs rooms, there wasn't a lot of work that was needed. So a few of the things that we've done, sprayed the existing radiators, sort of this metallic grey, which works really well with the fresh carpet. We've gone with the chrome electrical sockets and light fittings all around the property, and we've just done a whitewash of all the walls. So for me, we haven't done loads in this room, have we too? No. It's really brightened it up compared to how it was previously. Obviously, as you guys know, fire doors, 3 hinges, 4-inch hinges, door closers, intromescent strips. So another thing that the previous builder didn't do was he didn't fit the intromescent strips. The ones that he actually brought were 10 mil, not 15 mil, which we needed to fit here. And a lot of the door frames and the hinges weren't correct as well, so we ended up having to change a load of them. So it was difficult, and it was stuff that we expected would be made right. Whenever we did flag any issues, it was always a case of, I'll get it sorted, and you come back a week later, 2 weeks later, and things aren't being done. So for any of you investors out there, please stay on the board. Please stay on the board. It's been a massive learning curve for us. I think we've really learned quite a lot, to be honest. And it's made us really ramp up our due diligence process, especially with builders, because we know a lot of investors get stung by builders, whether they're blatantly dodgy or whether they just don't really know what they're doing. Yeah, just incompetent. And I think we were umming and ahhing about where we thought the builder sat on this spectrum, didn't we too? I think part of it was not knowing, which again, everybody has to start somewhere. And if there are things that you don't know, the reason why you've got someone like me, a project manager, is so I can point you in the right direction. But it wasn't utilised. Step into this room. So this is the smallest room in the property. But I think once you can see sort of the space and how we utilise the space. So it still is a good functioning room. You got a single bed, you got a chest of drawers in here, a single wardrobe, and a bedside table. And the room's large enough, isn't it too?
It's actually a really good sized room.
I'll point out another sort of interesting thing from the builder. So to change some windows in the property was quoted. We actually were only going to change the window panes in this. Now this wasn't done at the same time in which these windows were replaced, which would obviously make sense. This was probably done 12 weeks or so after a lot of pushing and asking and wondering when is it going to be done. When it finally got done by this builder, he actually changed the bottom pane and didn't change the top pane. And he said we weren't explicit about changing the top pane. So again, for you guys, let me know what you think there. I know what I think, and I know what was in the contract, so yeah. Right, let's go to the final room, which is our loft room. What would you say to anyone that is thinking about using the builder going forward? What are probably some of our top tips? Looking at previous work.
Look at previous work, talk to people who've actually used them before, who actually used them before, and see why they haven't used them again.
Exactly, yeah. Definitely look at previous work. Contract, definitely have a good contract in place. And what I would say to an investor is, especially if it's your first couple of developments, go overkill.
Yeah. Pay more.
Yeah, pay more. If you need to pay more, pay more. Potentially get a project manager in if it's something that you're not too familiar with. But make sure every last thing is in that contract. Make sure you don't pay a big chunk of money up front.
Yeah.
10 or 15%, even 20% isn't too bad. Yeah. But you got to have a lot of trust.
Yeah.
And
don't go with the cheapest quote.
Never.
Never go with the cheapest quote.
Absolutely never, ever. Yeah. Don't ever do that. But yeah, this is our flagship room. So this is the loft room. So we actually added a permanent stairs up here. And this is one of the things that the builder actually done really well. It's a really nice room. We know sort of under there cannot be classed as usable space, but it's still a decent storage area. It could be a little bit of a snug. I don't know, a few pillows down there, maybe a little chill out. But again, it's a fully functioning room and it's perfect for us. Other than that, it's been difficult. It's been a difficult few weeks. Difficult couple of months actually.
Yeah, we got there.
But yeah, we've got there on this one. So this is going to be handed over to our supported accommodation partner, who've already done their initial checks. And yeah, we're just waiting for them to sign it off.
Cool. So now it's going to be signed off, and then we're just going to take over management, I think. All right. Hopefully see you guys in the next one. Bye.